Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Jay Stoyan, and on the show today, we have author, writer, we have Frank Zakari, such a kind person, supporter of the Disability Channel. I'd like to welcome Frank to the show right now, if possible. We can pull him up on screen. There he is. Hey, Frank.
Good morning. Good morning. How's
we can't hear it.
Toronto?
Oh, there you go. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. We just had a little bit of a technical issue there. Thanks for being on the show today, Frank. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Glad to be here.
And thank you for the novels. We really appreciate you supporting our fundraiser. The kindness and generosity was very appreciated.
I appreciate that. And my brother was paralyzed 38 years ago now. So the disability world is very dear to my heart.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So tell our viewers exactly the name of the book that you offered for our fundraiser of focusing on persons with disabilities. And then we'll jump over to the veteran book too. Wow.
Sure,
you're a good guy. You're a good guy, Frank. Thank you.
The book is called 5 Years to Live. And we made it into a story rather than autobiographical, right? So it gave us some literary freedom or creativity. My brother, 23 years old, was driving to a job site, and he had just gotten on. It was on Sunday, and he just got engaged on a Friday, and he had this terrible accident, which left him paralyzed. And they had to rush him to Thomas Jefferson Hospital in Philadelphia, and he is there between Thomas Jefferson, the major surgery, and then the rehabilitation at McGee Hospital in Philadelphia. He was there almost a year. Wow. Now, after the initial accident and obviously shock, I was living in California. Most of my family was still in New York in the Buffalo area. They all fly into Philadelphia. They have the surgery, and the doctors, you know how doctors are, they kind of wishy-washy about what it is. And so I'm more of the bull in the china shop guy. So I said, I was a military medic during the Vietnam War.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. That's another layer that we have to talk about.
So I said to the doctor, I understand that people with this level of injury die within 5 years, yes or no? And the doctor started, and I said, look, yes or no. I'm not holding your feet to the fire. Just yes or no. What's going on here?
Yeah.
And she said, yes, that's true. That the average life expectancy is roughly 5 years. And they said, these are the things that are going to happen to him. He's going to have continuing infections. He's going to have more surgeries and on and on and on. So I sat down with my brother, and he was enraged by this because he expected he was going to walk out of the hospital.
Wow.
He said, no chance I'm dying within 5 years. I'm going to live for 50 years. And he had an expletive to the doctor, and he said, watch and see. And so he went on, and now we're going into the 39th year since the accident. He's moved from the Buffalo area because of all the snow to Phoenix, Arizona, the Scottsdale area, where he has run 2 businesses. He has been on the planning commission for the Northeast Phoenix area, and he's become like a Pied Piper for young students, particularly as they're going to high school in that area. He's in better health, other than he's still paralyzed, than he was in the beginning because it was all drugs and tried these set of drugs, and then that would affect his kidneys, then tried this set of drugs that would affect his liver, and it went on and on for many, many years. He was constantly sick, and everything the doctor said was going to happen in that 5-year window was happening. And then he said, one of the doctors said to him, look, I can't help you anymore. We're going to see if we can't get you to an integrative medicine doctor, and I'll figure out a way for insurance to pay for this. Right. So he meets with an integrative doctor who says, all right, we're not going to stop all the drugs, but we're going to change, and we're going to move to a more holistic approach. Diet, different way of going about things. And he is healthier now than he has been at any point in time. And it's going on for 39 years now, and hitting 50 years looks very possible.
Wow. So he has the will to live, and he's living. I love that. And just to add to that, because what you said about holistic, right? Go on a holistic path. There's so many veterans that fall into that category that, as soon as they get out and they have trauma, or a person with disability, I mean, the same thing, right? And the doctors just feed you the pills instead of being open-minded, being innovative, and seeing how can we get this person better without so many prescription drugs.
Absolutely. At the 20-year mark, because this was a work-related injury, so the insurance is paying for all this, right? So at the 20-year mark, Insurance company sends people from Craig Rehabilitation Hospital in Denver to meet with my brother. My sister runs rehabilitation hospitals. So if you're going to have an accident like this happen, which is horrible, having somebody who understands what's going on is very helpful. So they said, we want you to come to Denver, Steve. My brother's name's Steve, obviously. And he said, and we're going to do a complete workup on you. We're going to do why you're still alive, number one, and what differences do we see in you that in other people. So he's there for a week. They do this extensive overview on him, and they come out with a report that had to do with medical side, family side, support side, interactive medicine side, and then socialization side, right? Beautiful document. And it gets done, and they're going over it with him. And my sister, who happened to be there, who also is a PhD, and she said,
And
"Look
what
at this."
hospital? Where's your sister working out of?
Now she's independent.
Okay.
She works in Scottsdale, Arizona. She lives she just moved about a block and a half away, but for years she lived next door to my brother in the Phoenix
Okay.
area,
Okay.
right
Nice.
next door,
Nice.
right?
Nice.
And so my sister had said, they turned and looked at the insurance company and said, what are you going to do about this? Because it was a complete uh, family support, everything, not just medicine.
Wow.
And the insurance company said, well, we want to do the best as possible to help you. And she said, oh, cut the crap. All right. Are you going to do this or not? And they said, well, we're limited by the rule. And they said, you're not. That's the answer. Okay. Stop the song and dance.
Yeah.
So he went back home to the Phoenix Scottsdale area, continues to be very, very active. I saw him at Thanksgiving. He's doing very, very well. And so we wrote this book. It was a collaboration between,
How old would he be now, Frank?
I'm 70, so he's 62.
Okay. Okay.
He's 62. We wrote this book together because I was there for parts of it, but I wasn't there late at night at 3 o'clock in the morning when you're going through all your
Yeah.
the emotions. So he had a lot of input on it. My other brother, Tony, because if you're Italian, you have to have a Tony in your family, right?
Ha!
My other brother, Tony, also was a contributing author to that. So we wrote this book about, what his life was like prior to the fact that he just gotten engaged on a Friday. The accident occurred. So we wanted to make it into a story rather than just all medical.
That's wonderful. Now, how involved was your sister medically? Was she more advice? Was she hands-on?
Oh, incredibly hands-on. Because at the time of the accident, she was living in New Jersey. So from New Jersey to Philadelphia is nothing, right? So she got to the hospital. My sister is very well known in the head trauma rehabilitation world.
Oh, I got some good follow-ups for you. Okay, go ahead.
We should do that. So my sister walks into the hospital the next day, bringing my parents in, and they know who she is.
Okay.
In that world, they know who Annette Zakari is, right? And they thought maybe she was there for an interview, or maybe she was going to have a job there.
Yeah.
So she meets with the team and she starts telling them, we're going to do this and this and this and this and this. And they said, okay. And she meets with the doctor and says, these are the things that I want done. And this is, and you can't tell the doctor how they're going to do the surgery,
Yeah.
but here's how the rehabilitation is going to go. And so she was very, very engaged. My parents, they're devastated. They could barely talk or anything, but she had been there. I had been a medic in the military, so I was aware of some of the things that we were going to go through as a family. And she was very, very engaged. And as they would sit down with the rehabilitation team, and they'd say, okay, here's how we're going to work this. And at one point, my brother would say, I'm not going to these group meetings anymore. And my mother gets all concerned, obviously. And they asked, why, Steve? My brother asked him why. And he goes, because all they do is talk about how bad their life is and how terrible this is. And he goes, well, it is kind of terrible, Steve. And he goes, yeah, but it is what it is. So I'm not going to worry about it. I have to deal with the cards I've been dealt, and I'm going to go forward the way it is. And I'm not going to sit there and wallow in self-pity. So even while he was in the hospital, he was taking a very aggressive stance as to, I'm going to get better. I'm going to walk out of here. Now, he didn't walk out, but he has battled it and has accepted it. And that's the magic thing. Now, Jay, we were at his home. He was having a little celebration, and he and my sister started a company called Abilities Unlimited in the Phoenix area. And so one of the things that, and I was there, so I'm pouring wine for people and listening to the conversation. And so there are 3 or 4 people that are in wheelchairs, and they were asked, if you could go back prior to the accident, would you do it? And every one of them said no. I would rather be where I am because I'm a better person and my life is better the way I am today, and I'm impacting more lives. So I was stunned that, and they all said the same thing. It was pretty amazing. So that was what the book was about, and then we collaborated together, and this was prior to me understanding how to market a book. So it did well, but we didn't sell a lot of copies of it. And that was kind of disappointing. But it was a real experience to go through that process. Now, while we were there with him in the hospital, there was a young woman who had been paralyzed because of a lightning strike. Now, how many people get hit by lightning, right? And so she was at the beach and she was laying on a blanket with her boyfriend. And what we learned is when lightning comes from the ground up, and then it travels along, and that's how the impact is. And so she was laying on a blanket, the lightning thing hit, it comes across. The boyfriend is closest. He died on the spot. She becomes paralyzed, goes to the same hospital my brother was in. And this is someone who did not have a big support group, who did not have a family that was there to assist and to provide all the additional support beyond the medical side. And she struggled for quite a while. Now, she did, in fact, walk out of the hospital at some point down the road. But then her life, because she didn't have that support system, became intolerable. It just spiraled completely out of control. And one of the things I say to families and to people who know someone with a disability is you have to be there. You have to be there, and you have to support, because the doctors can do so much, but you cannot and do not underestimate the power of the human spirit. And the human spirit is such that I'm going to defeat this, but you can't do it alone. So families and friends and neighbors and what have you, you have to be engaged. You have to be helpful. You have to say, we're there for you. We're going to be involved in whatever it is that you need to do and want to do. Now, in my brother's case, he went back and got a master's degree, and he started working at one of the universities in the Buffalo area, and he was sort of like the ombudsman for handicap access. And so it was involved in all of the security that was necessary.
Wow, Frank, that is such a heartfelt story, and you got the whole family involved. Thank you for sharing that. It must have really tugged on your heart and your family, and I feel so sorry for your mom and dad, but good to hear that your brother's doing good. What I'd like to do, actually, before we take a commercial break, is I would love to have your sister and Steve on with our host in LA. We have a Today Show in LA, and I think that would be great because she is a true accessibility ability lady who's doing wonderful things across America. And I think sharing your story or your brother's story with your sister at the same time, I think that would be great to share. And I think more people would love to hear how he's doing.
I think they would love that. And when I had a radio show, I had them both on, and we told the story there. And it's for them, it's very important because it is a different way to go about dealing with a disability. And they're both very, very active in that world. So I'm sure they would love it.
It sure is. And I'd really love to connect with your sister because I have a lot of family members that are in the health system. One includes my cousin who runs the Cleveland Clinic down in Florida. And
Wow.
they've been very supportive of our channel, along with the Cleveland Clinic up here, the Mayo Clinic, Hospital for Sick Children's. So I'd love to work with your sister and see how we can help more people together.
Perfect. I will connect you.
So what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break. You're watching the Today Show Toronto. We're on with author Frank Zakari. He's very, very generous. We're going to talk a little bit about our fundraiser, but what we're going to do is we're going to transition into the veteran world as Frank is part of that world. So stay tuned. You're watching the Today Show Toronto. We'll be right back.